the best of the week on Relevant Radio.
We have white smoke coming from the Sistine Chapel. It's a time for celebration, friends.
When that white smoke began billowing out of the chimney, let me tell you, people began jumping up and down.
This is great news.
Habemus Papam, eminentissimum, ac reverendissimum Dominum, Dominum Robertum Franciscum, Sancte Romane Ecclesiae, Cardinalem Prevost. Qui sibi nomen imposuit Leonem decimum quartum.
What an exciting, amazing, historic moment that was. Welcome back to Morning Air. You guessed it, we're going to talk about our Holy Father, Pope Leo. I'm John Morales, along with Glenn and Sarah. It's good to be with you on this Thursday morning on the Feast of Our Lady of Champion. You can always send us an email directly with your prayer intentions. It's morningair@relevantradio.com. Now, as you know, our Holy Father, Pope Leo XIV, is the first American Pope. It is a really big deal in this country and in his hometown of the Chicago area. So many Americans are just drawn to Pope Leo as he represents us in such a special way, and he truly understands what it's like to grow up in the American culture. What can we learn from our current Holy Father, and what can we learn from his example? Earlier this week, Pope Leo signed his first apostolic exhortation of his papacy, Delixi Te. Joining us live from Chicago is Joe Boland, the Chief Mission Officer of Catholic Extension Society, who was in Rome for the Pope's election. For much more on Pope Leo, our American Pope. Good morning, Joe. Thanks so much for joining us. It is a great joy to be with you once again.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me, John.
Joe, I'll have you know that magazine, the beautiful magazine with our Holy Father on the cover, has been sitting in my office right next to my desk as a reminder of how special this time is for all of us. And a reminder that, hey, I need to talk to Joe about this sometime.
I'm so glad. It was a privilege to be able to work on that magazine and put it together and celebrate what you just mentioned was, one of the great moments, certainly in the church's history, but also for us as American Catholics to see one of our own, the first American-born Pope, and it just is an extraordinary moment. And I think one of the titles of the articles in that magazine was, "It's an amazing time to be a Catholic." And we really, really feel that way. And we've been watching closely this Pope. Now I believe we're in the 155th day of his papacy. And it's just been a joy to witness this papacy unfold as he begins to shepherd us as our universal pastor.
Oh, no question about it. And I think that article, it really sums it up so well. It's an amazing time to be a Catholic, because it really is. And so many people in this country are just so excited about this new Holy Father. You dedicated that entire issue. Can you give us kind of a thumbnail sketch of some of the other stories in that special edition publication of the extension, this commemorative issue?
Really, we wanted to celebrate the first American Pope and talk a little bit about his roots. Speaking about his roots are so important. We begin to understand something about a person when we know where they come from. And he, of course, grew up in the southern suburbs of Chicago and Dolton, Illinois, and grew up in a very simple house in a working class family there. And so we talk a bit about that. And then we also talk to people from across the country and get some of their reactions, particularly people who know the Pope personally and wanted to get their thoughts on what this meant and what they know about this man who got the call from the Holy Spirit to be the shepherd of us all. And of course, in the second half of the magazine, we also wanted to celebrate the great life and the legacy of Pope Francis. And so we again talked to people from across the country about his impact on them as Catholic leaders. And we also talked about Pope Francis's impact on us at Catholic Extension Society as a pontifical organization working to build up the church's presence among the poor, and what it meant to have, Pope Francis's backing in so much of the work that we did at Catholic Extension. So, yeah, we offered that to the faithful as a commemorative edition, just to celebrate this very unique historical moment we are living in the Catholic Church right now, and to just kind of capture the moment and where we are. So.
Joe, you're very blessed over the last several months. I understand that you've had the chance to meet some of the Holy Father's family, some of his friends, and even fellow Augustinians. What's that experience been like to learn so much about his roots, which obviously have that south suburb connection of Chicago?
Yeah. So I have met a lot of people that know him and know him well, including his family. I've never met the Pope personally. I hope to have that chance, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I know so many people that know him, and so I feel close to him. He really feels to me like a friend of a friend, if you will. So last month, I actually just a couple of weeks ago, had a chance to sit down and have dinner with his older brother, John, who lives in the suburbs of Chicago, and he's a wonderful man. And he shared something with me that I thought was so absolutely sweet. He said that he talks to his brother, the Pope, every single day. And
wow.
That suggested to me that the Pope is a very grounded man. He's grounded in his family, and from what I know from his fellow Augustinians and the other bishops that I know of the U.S. that know him, is that he's a man of deep faith. He's a man of deep convictions. And so everyone I've talked to that knows him, that is close to him, is always telling me how grounded he is. And that just fills me with a sense of hope and optimism, knowing that we have a Pope that's not, legislating from on high. He's a Pope that is so grounded in the reality, certainly, of the people that he has served throughout his life as a priest and as a bishop. But he's also grounded in his faith, and he's grounded in the Holy Spirit that has called him into this role. And so I like him more every time I talk to someone who knows him, and hope to have the chance to meet him personally myself.
Well, that makes two of us, because that's a dream of mine. I'd love to chat with the Holy Father someday and ask him about his love of the Chicago White Sox, being a big baseball fan, and his love of pizza and some of the things that connect to him. I know that there's tours going on as we speak to visit his home and the pizza restaurant that he loved to go to, and obviously, the White Sox have honored him as well. He's so real.
He absolutely is. And actually, his brother did share with me another interesting tidbit. So the Pope's father was a Cubs fan, but somehow the Pope grew up a White Sox fan, and his older brother is a Cubs fan. So they were a house divided.
I love it.
even though he's the Pope that talks about unity. So maybe that's where that notion of wanting to build unity came from within his own household, and it began with baseball. But there have been pilgrimages down to his home and the parish where he grew up in Dolton, Illinois. I've been down there. We actually took a group of people down there a couple of weeks ago. We were able to take a group of 15 bishops that were in Chicago out of town. They were from all over the place. They were from Samoa to Puerto Rico to, the western states of the United States, South Texas. They came with us to the Pope's house. We actually had the Apostolic Nuncio of the United States with us, Cardinal Christophe Pierre. They all wanted to come. For them, it was a very, very holy pilgrimage to go visit the childhood home of the Pope, to see where he played, to see where he grew up, to see the parish church where he first received the faith and understood, what the Catholic Church might be calling and what God might be calling him to do in his life. And so it was a very special moment for us. And some of the bishops just wanted to sit out on that front stoop and sit where little young Robbie sat many years ago, and just sort of bask in that experience of what it was like to be the Pope growing up in that place. So it feels like a very holy pilgrimage site when you go and visit the Pope's childhood home. Father Jack Wall pointed out the nearby steel mills. You notice all the truck traffic that's going by. It was almost hard to film because the constant sound of freight train noise and horns constantly going off. What you realize is you're surrounded by industry, and you also notice, as you're surrounded by industry and all these train tracks and all these steel mills, right smack dab in the middle of it is this parish church, which was just a few blocks away from the Pope's house. So presumably he walked to his parish school and to church on Sunday. And you realize that the church was the true anchor of his life. And what Father Jack Wall shared with us is we learned that the church was bigger than this neighborhood. And so he talked about the mission box that they would pass around to support the church in Africa and Asia, and that from a young age, these kids in Dolton, Illinois would get the sense that the church was bigger than the parish and that the church had a responsibility to the broader world. And he said maybe that's where the Pope got his, missionary calling from, perhaps. And then the other thing that he pointed out was in the middle of all this industry, we have a future Pope who chooses the name Leo. And Leo, his predecessor, Leo XIII, of course, was the Pope who firmly put himself with the working class in terms of his document Rerum Novarum, where he lifts up the dignity of the worker. And so we think it's no mistake that this Pope, who grew up in a working class community surrounded by hard workers, ends up picking a name Leo to signal his connection with the dignity of workers. And so it's really, really powerful to see those initial roots of the Pope and to understand how they might influence him even today.
Well, here in the early going, as you mentioned, day 155, we've seen that this is a Pope of hope, a Holy Father that has a heart for the poor, especially. And in fact, not a coincidence that Pope Leo's first major document is about encouraging us, the influence of the poor. And that's something very hopeful. What do you know so far about this exhortation from the Holy Father, his first one?
Yeah, so I woke up as early as I could this morning to read it because it was just released. I'm halfway through it right now. My first impression, my first word that I can offer you is wow. I feel so proud to be a Catholic, and I'm only halfway through this document. He is talking about how the poor is, and our service of the poor and our care for the poor and love for the poor helps us get in touch with the face of Christ. And he walks us through from the scriptures to the saints to Catholic history. He's really reminding of us of our identity as Catholics, that charity and faith go hand in hand. And you cannot read this exhortation, and I beg everyone to do so, and not feel a sense of absolute pride about what it means to be a Catholic and to receive the faith, which teaches us to love God and to love our neighbor and to put that in practice in the world. And the Pope is steeping us once again in that identity, that we as a people of God practice charity for the poor, for the weak, for the outcast. And it's a really, really powerful reminder of who we are as a people of faith. And I'd encourage everybody to read it. And after I get off this call, I'm going to run and finish the rest of it. It's just a beautiful document. It was a great way to start my day.
Well, you definitely have a head start on reading it. It just came out. It's interesting that the Holy Father actually signed it on October 4th, the feast of St. Francis of Assisi, kind of symbolic of that connection to Pope Francis, his predecessor, in which he is continuing so many of the things that he did that touched so many hearts.
This entire episode of Morning Air is on the Relevant Radio app. The Relevant Radio app is completely free and updated daily with fresh articles, podcasts, and prayers. Don't delay. Download the app today, and thanks for listening.